Hello everyone, Nathan Hawthorne here, and today we're back with another lesson. Today we're going to be working on the nose. Now when it comes to the nose, it's very interesting because the nose isn't like the eye or the mouth where you've got these sort of clear lines which show exactly what is what. Instead it relies on tone to show the form and the shape. So once again I am using myself as our model, and I've just got a small cutout section of my face, and I've increased the contrast and turned it black and white just to make it a little bit easier for us to work from. So we'll start off with our HB as usual, and we're just going to start with what I like to call brackets. Okay, the nose comes in many shapes and sizes, so these brackets will be different shapes depending on who you are drawing, but typically a bracket shape is what you are after. So there's the left, that's the outside of the wing of the nose. And now I'm going to draw the actual nostril itself. And then on the other side, the right nostril. Right here. And the right wing. Okay, so there we go. Now that's fine as a line drawing, it works, but we want to add tone and we want to show that this entire bit in the middle is raised out from the face back here, and we want to show how much it's raised out. So let's just grab our 2B, and what we're going to do is just separate the darks from the lights. So we're not going to pay attention to how dark something is or how light something is at the moment. We're just going to separate the darks and the lights. So this image is lit from the right on this side. So this side is typically lighter and this side is typically darker. But of course we've got all the variation within that as well. So here we go. It's very rare to find a situation where there isn't much shadow underneath the nose. The nose itself sticks out a lot, and typically light tends to come from the top or from above. The sun is above us, our lights are above us inside rooms, so there tends to be a shadow underneath the nose area. So don't be surprised when you see quite a bit of light there. But we also get a little bit of bounce light as well, and I'll talk about that later. Okay, so just keep drawing and adding this tone. Remember, we're just doing a sort of general lightish, almost mid-tone. We don't want to go too much into detail yet. I show the variations in tone yet. All we need is what's light and what's got tone. Okay, now with the wings of the nose, which are this section here and this section here, this is where it can sometimes be a bit different from person to person, because of course some people have narrower wings, some people have larger ones, some people have ones that protrude a lot and are very different from the center section of the nose. So adding tone there can sort of really make or break the piece, and it tends to be where a lot of our time will go later on. But we'll just see how this progresses. Now let's just get in this piece of light here. This is where this wing starts to just dip in a bit there. And the right, which is in shadow, because here's the centre of the nose, but that sticks out the most. And this entire right side is in quite a bit of shadow, because of course the light is coming from this direction. So we'll just keep adding to that and we'll head up. Okay, just as a general thing, I'm just going to draw to the side here the general shape of the nose, which is centre section like that, and then side bits, which is sort of like that. Okay, and then everything else just sort of comes up under it. So that's the sort of basic structure of the nose, and that's what we're going to try to achieve right here. So this bit which I'm shading in is this bit right here. Just keep adding that time. We've also got a little bit of tone here. This is around where our eye is. And it gets really dark over here where the eye socket comes in. So there's our basics up there. Let's just get a little bit more down at the bottom, around the cupid's bow sort of area. Okay, and because I've got, or had a moustache at the time of drawing this, it gets a bit hazy over here, so I'll just sort of leave that be for now. So there we go, there's our basic light and tone. All right, now we can start to add a little bit of variation. So I'm gonna just pop up from that 2B that I was using over to a 4B. So let's start adding a bit more darkness. I'm gonna work along here and then I'm gonna fill in the top later on. Usually I work from the top left to the bottom right, but with the nose, if you haven't got the bottom section correct, then it doesn't really matter for the top. It's not gonna work. All right, so everything is gonna go into this for the time being. So we'll start here on the left. And remember, we don't want lines like this to be left over. What we want is the different tones. All right, so to show that this is sticking out and that is being sent backwards. There we go. See there how we've lost the line that was there? Now it's just dark and light, and that's what we want. Good. I'll come down there, and then it fades the darkness here. We've got a little bit of light here. That's from the light bouncing off the floor and off my top lip and going up to reach here. And as I said before in another video, we will talk about bounce light later because it's super duper important and it's one of those things that can take your drawing to the next level. A lot of you are already doing it and you don't even realize that you're doing it. But bounce light is such an amazing thing. Okay, make that darker. I'm not going to press too hard because I can always come back with the 5B later on to make that darker. But I'm going to separate it from the 2B shading that had been done before. Excellent, making good progress here. So let's carry on round. We got this bit here. I'm actually not too familiar with all the technical terminology for the nose and the anatomy. I mean, I'm familiar with the septum, which is of course underneath, but that's not really the bit that we're seeing here, is it? We're seeing the flesh that goes over it. So that's one thing for me to research. If anyone does actually know the names for the parts of the nose, feel free to comment it down in the comments below. Okay, let's switch back to the 2B here, because this bit is actually lighter than I would have thought. That's probably because the light from the right is coming in so strong that it's made the shadow underneath the nose not as harsh as we would have thought, but the shadow on the left and around the nostril is super duper dark. So let's just gently shade this. I'm just going to pop up here because they are linked. This is where we start to see this structure come into play. As you can see, I'm starting to jump around a bit, because when you make a part darker in one part of a picture, it affects the other part of the picture. It affects the entire form, so you'll find yourself jumping about, especially with more complex forms, such as the nose. Yep, it's looking good. Just get a bit more shading in there. And let's leave that bit for now. Let's jump across to the bottom right and see if we can work our way up. So I'm going to jump back to my 4B. I was using my 2B there, if you remember. So we're back with the 4B. And we're just going to go around here. Shade that in. As I said before, not too dark, because we've got the 5B that can come in and just finish it off later, because we don't want that shiny surface that we can't really work with. A little bit of darkness as we're coming out of the nostril. Oh, one thing that I haven't mentioned, nostrils are not massive circles. Many young artists that I've seen are guilty of just drawing the nose sort of like that, and then putting circles there, like that. We do not want that. The nostrils are more of a comma shape or a bracket with a little bit more added to it, okay? Almost like a drumstick. But they are most certainly not circular. Alright, so beware of the shape of your nostrils. And the interesting thing about nostrils is that they change so much depending on the slightest tilt and angle in your face. So you could move forward just slightly. Someone could be tilting the head forward just very slightly, and the nostrils might become completely invisible because of the tilting. Or it could be the other way, where they're looking up and all of a sudden the nostrils do become closer to circles because the person has just tilted the head backwards slightly, and this all becomes a lot more visible. Okay, I think I'm a bit too dark here, so I'm going to switch back to the 2B. I'm just going to fade this up. This bounce, like right here, it's causing some problems. Let me just squint slightly. Alright, it looks like this section here is all very similar in tone. So let's see what we can do. Might have to use a little bit of artistic license and just make up a little bit of the tone to make it work a little better, and to define the shape a bit more, because it's proving a little bit more challenging than I thought. Let's jump out to here. Let's just rotate this. Straight to the 4B because this part was quite dark. These bits of the nose right here, of the face, where your cheeks sort of meet your nose, these are always really weird to draw. The reason being that we all have them, and they become especially evident when we smile, but adding them in automatically makes the person look slightly older, which is why they're so emphasized in cartoons and manga and anime for older characters. So it's always a weird balance of how much you emphasize the cheek meeting the nose, because you don't want to give the impression that the person is too old before they're young, especially with children where their cheeks are quite prominent, and this mark is actually a little bit more obvious than you would see in an adult, in a young adult, that is. As you can see, I'm using the side of my pencil rather than getting those harsh pointed lines. We want nice softer ones that we can use to blend together and that we can control a bit more. Okay, I'm going to bring in the 5B and just start getting a bit darker in some parts because it's starting to come together now. Right down here. Good. And across here. And then switch back to the 4B. I'm just putting in all these little variations that are around the tip of the nose, or the ball of the nose as some people call it, right here. And there are a lot of variations, which isn't helped by the fact that there's actually a lot of variations within the skin tone around here because of the blood beneath the nose, beneath the skin of the nose, which has its own sort of effect. It's also a bit weird doing this outside the context of the face. Just doing a nose on its own is a little bit strange. But still fun. And that's the main thing I think with art. You want to try and keep it as fun as possible. Sometimes work is work and it can get a bit stressful creating artwork, and you got to get it done even though you don't feel like it. But as long as overall you can see that yourself getting close to your goals and you're happy with some of the process and happy with some of the results. You don't even have to be happy with all the results, but as long as there's some joy there, then you're in a good place. That's the way art's supposed to be. To be honest, that's the way most of life's supposed to be. Some hardships, but a whole lot of fun. Okay, I'm just gonna look at this from a bit of a distance Okay. Getting a weird bit of form here. I'm going to try and sort that out slightly. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video here for the first part. We will be finishing this off tomorrow in the second part, but for now this is our start. We've laid in the basic shape, started applying some of the basic tones, but we need a little bit more detail just to take it to that next step. Okay, so we'll stop there. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ask any questions that you want down below. All right, that's all for today. Until next time.